quiz.
You can have the kids.
I don't think so. That's just
Show
something
this
you
one.
get done too.
Yeah.
So.
You want?
Hey, Jay.
Kids can hang out in there. No.
He's in the lobby.
Yeah, Jason? We do have one for Jason. Not that. Jason, class.
Summer camp, I did. Yeah. Not yet.
What's that?
I'm going to design stuff.
You brought your whole. Nice,
I
okay.
brought a Zen kit.
It's you.
You has a name.
You guys gotta keep that
Feel free to take a seat. So I'll go ahead and get started. So, good evening and welcome to the VexIQ InfoNet for Robolink. So, pretty much all this is going to go over is how the schedule is going to work, what's VexIQ, as well as payments and things of that nature. I'm also going to address some of the questions that you guys also sent back to us through the forum. So first off, this is the game. I'll go ahead and do this.
Introducing the 2016-2017 game VexIQ Challenge Crossover. There are 3 ways to play VexIQ Challenge Crossover. First, 2 teams will collaborate in 60-second teamwork challenge matches, working together to maximize their score. Both teams will receive the same points. Second, each team will have the opportunity to play robot skills challenge matches. In these matches, they have 60 seconds of driver-controlled time to score as many points as possible as an individual team. Lastly, each team will have the opportunity to play programming skills challenge matches in which they have 60 seconds of autonomous robot operation to score points. No drivers allowed. VexIQ Challenge Crossover is played on a 4-foot by 8-foot field. Robots start on the field in a predefined starting positions. The scoring objects used in VexIQ Challenge Crossover are 5-inch hex balls. There are a total of 28 hex balls on the field that are a part of the game. The object of the game is to maximize your score with your alliance partner by scoring hex balls into the matching score head for 1 point, scoring hex balls into matching locals for 3 points each, and scoring hex balls into matching elevated goals for 5 points each. You also earn points for parking robots on the bridge at the end of the match. 5 points for 1 robot, 15 points for 2 robots, or 25 points for all robots parked on a balanced bridge. For official robot requirements and official game rules for VexIQ Challenge Crossover, please see the VexIQ Challenge game manual found at roboticseducation.org and vexiq.com. Also, don't forget to visit vexiqforum.com for all the latest information and updates. Good luck and have a great season.
Okay, so this is the VexIQ game. The game is also featured in the back if you're interested in looking at that. So VexIQ is the competition platform that we as Robolink have so that students can work together. If you've done the Robot Smart Kits, usually it's like an individual project. Pretty much this becomes our like group project for the students. What it does is it teaches students how to do the engineering design process. So they have a mission and then they have to build a robot to solve that mission. So that's what this platform is for. Teams are set up in Robolink based on your guys' time assignments. So if you have students that are in the morning, so during our class sign-up schedule, we have various time slots assorted. And then based on where you place your children or you sign up for enrollment, that's actually where and how we choose the students. We also try to group the students based on their age range. So if you're an elementary student, we try to put you with other elementary students. If you're a middle school student, then we'll try to put you with middle school students. Because one of the things is we have separate divisions. So there's an elementary division and a middle school division. So they do it based on the oldest student in the group. So even if you have a ton of elementary students in the group, if you have that one middle school student, then the team is entirely counted as a middle school group. Sometimes it helps if you're all middle school or all elementary, it just varies depending on the season.
Is it by grade?
Yes, so it's by grade as well as your school district. So if your school district is one of those school districts that includes the 6th grade as being still part of elementary, then you're still in the elementary division. But if you have a school that does 6th grade and up, then that's middle school. We prefer that you have at least 3 people in the team. That's just because sometimes some of the other students will have other commitments like soccer, basketball, swimming, or something. So we need at least 2 people to actually run like that team actually performing in an event. So we ask that we have at least 3, and it just makes it easier for the team to function. The most that we will have in the team is 6, and that's just so that all the students can get a good amount of work being put in. Because if we create a team of, say, like 30, then some kids might not even get to touch the robot. That becomes the case. So that's why we, if you go to some of these events, you'll actually see some teams are like a group of 30, but they actually break it down so that some students are only doing one thing and solely that one thing. So we try to make sure that as a learning environment, they get a little bit of everything. So that's why you guys see that we only have like a certain amount of people in our groups. We assign 1 coach per team. So every team will have 1 main instructor, and that will be the instructor that teaches that class. So your scheduling options will be either once a week or twice a week. It just depends on how you want to sign up. Pretty much if the student does come twice a week, that allows them to commit more time into the robot. So a lot of our teams that usually move on to the middle or to the state or regional or state or world event, they actually are our teams that are coming twice a week. That's just because they get to spend more time on the robot, and then they also get more time to tinker as well as modify the robot. So a lot of our more competitive teams generally come twice a week. There are 4 different events as mentioned in the video. So you have the teamwork, which is like a big event. That's where 2 robots work together to score 1 point. And then there's the skills, where it's a combination this year. It's actually the programming plus the individual robot driving. So they actually force you to do the programming as part of your challenge so that you can get your points.
So question, so they have different events, so do they have one robot, or they can have different robots for different events?
Great question. So the question was if the team can have multiple robots. So you can only check in 1 robot, so you can't create two or 3 robots. You can only enter in 1 robot per team. And then that robot has to compete in every single event. I believe you can make slight modifications to the robot per event. So you can have like a special attachment just for the programming challenge, and then you can also remove those, like say the sensors. So if you want to do the programming challenge, you can add more sensors just for that, and then remove them afterwards for skills and teamwork.
So I'm sorry. So you mean the event? So that means when they compete, so they compete to different event, or all the event are happening the same day?
So we host 2 separate events. So we're going to host one in December and then one in February.
Or also different event happen at different time.
Correct.
So that means they can have different robot for different event.
Correct. So they can have. So usually what ends up happening is sometimes some students start modifying even more after their first event to improve their score. We just provide 2 events, that way there's multiple chances for them to move on to the next round.
So how does the sequence of rounds go? What do you mean you host events? in the
So
rounds?
we're a VexIQ event partner. So if you go to Robot Events, you'll see all the different actual tournaments and things like that. We just host 2 of them. So that just means we run the event,
Oh, okay.
and then other people can also host the event if they set
And
up
other
the
people will come to
Correct.
host the event.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is not just a Robolink catered
Yeah.
event. Like anyone can actually enroll into this. So
And
if
does
they-
The events that we would, our kids would be involved in would be the December and February ones specifically?
yeah, so the ones that we're already pre-registering all the students for
ones
are
that
the
we-
ones that
Oh,
we
okay.
sign up for. And then if you guys want to participate in multiple ones, then you guys can do that as well. It's just, it's not gonna be hosted by Robolink.
And with regard to the schedule, does everybody on the team have to agree to meet either once a week or twice a week, or can you have some team members doing?
We did have some students that did commit towards twice a week, but that was just because they really insisted, even though they were a once a week
Team.
team.
Okay.
There was that one student who was like, I feel like I wanna do a lot more, so that may happen, so, but that's case by case. We try to make sure that all the people who are trying to do twice a week, then they are in the same exact slots as all the other students doing twice a week. So our time availabilities, so as you can see, Forest Ranch, we only have like a few of you, but hopefully that makes it so all of you guys kind of get nested together. Serrano Valley, we do have various options, and if you are not able to make the Forest Ranch commitments, we might have, or we definitely have some space for you in the Serrano Valley location. So these are all the available times that we are offering to teach VexIQ. And then you can just fill out that form I sent out, and then those are actually the time slots that we're trying to sign you guys up for. Yes.
Hello, question, since, so Sam came last week on Sunday, the morning one, the coach said there's not enough students yet, so even the spot is there, so does that mean there will be a team for that time?
So pretty much August is actually the starting date for, like, that's actually our hard launch date for VexIQ. Our soft dates were actually this entire summer. So we did have some students starting to work on their teams, but those were just because they were either coming out from the original season that we had bank shot last year, and then they just continued on and they were already situated in their time slots, and they just carried forward. So those are the only ones who are already there. But we do have, like after this info session, everyone that signed up, we have like quite a few enrollment for Sunday, if that's what you're looking for. So we definitely do have tons of people to fill up for all these time slots. They just haven't signed up yet.
The enrollment for the summer is different than the enrollment for the year.
Yeah.
The rest of the year.
Oh, okay. Also, but also you have spots for Saturday, okay?
Yeah, so we have slots all throughout the weekend as well. It's just none of our students haven't came back because we're still in like summer vacation for a lot of the students. And all of them come back roughly around end of August or beginning of September. Okay, so expectations, so once the season starts, it is preferable that students bring their own laptops. We only reserve like 8 to 10 laptops here. But the problem becomes when we go to the event, it's important for the kids to have a laptop. They can actually download programs onto the computer, from the computer to the robot. Just because if all 15 of our current VexIQ teams are sharing 3 laptops, it's not going to work. So preferably, hopefully one person from your team has at least a laptop that they can use. It does make it a lot easier because they can also do a program at home too, or come up with other code and then test it here. We expect that these students will also listen to us, so if we assign roles or assign tasks, the students should follow and pay attention. If not, we'll probably let you guys know if, like, say, student A is not listening to teacher B, and we'll probably just like send you an email, and then if it repeat offense, probably take further action. All students will be builders and programmers in the beginning, and then maybe towards the end when it becomes like crunch time for the actual tournament, that's probably when we'll start assigning more role-specific orientations. But ideally, we want to make sure that all the students get like the ground fundamentals done, and then students will tend to deviate towards like, oh, they get the programming logic a lot better, so they'll probably be the main programmer, but everyone should have the same foundation. Does that make sense? Next, so coaches' role is just to make sure that the students are following a strict guideline as well as the time frame. So they should have a robot done by a certain deadline. They should, they're also going to be making sure that the students build the robot and make sure that they're not breaking the rules, and pretty much it's just making sure that they have a competition qualified robot. Parents, as much as we allow your input, we don't allow you to actually sit inside a classroom and watch them. So I think that was like our biggest problem last year. So you can't actually physically be in the classroom for 2 hours with them, just because there's a lot of conflicting ideals. So preferably don't do that. And also, if you are able to program, we actually prefer that our instructors take the lead in terms of the programming. So you guys can give them like an idea of how to program it, but preferably you don't design the code for them, because if they come back with your code and then they don't know how it works, it causes problems for us because we don't know what they're trying to do. So preferably if you, but you do have a programming background, just have some self-restraint. And then pretty much our instructors are the main coaches, so pretty much whatever they say is like the final word. So pretty much they're the ones leading the team, and as a parent, your input is valued, but I think the instructor should be the one that kind of has the final say in everything. Students, they're just going to be building the robot programming, and then they should also make sure that they listen to other teammates. So even though that there may be like a seasoned VexIQ person, I think everyone should be like respectable for other students. So you should just say, oh, I built this and I think it's awesome. You guys should come to like a concise decision before actually building something. Does that make sense? So these are our VexIQ dates. So we have an unofficial, we will be hosting a scrimmage. This is just a practice match. You guys don't have to attend this, but it is good practice. We're just going to gather all the VexIQ teams that we have available, and then they're just going to meet over here, and then we're just going to do a mock run of the teamwork challenge. So we're going to simulate the teamwork challenge. I'm just going to show you guys how the event is going to run. If this is your first year doing VexIQ with us, I think this is probably really important, just so you know how the schedule is going to work just for this challenge, as well as you'll get an idea of how the game is actually being played.
Do you know what time?
Hmm?
Do you know what time?
I believe it's going to be at 6, because it should be right after the regular Saturday classes
October 10th.
The 10th is a Monday.
The 10th is a Monday.
It is?
Yeah, it's Columbus Day too.
Okay, it's going to be,
October 8th. The 8th is a Saturday.
okay, it's going to, I'll update this, and then I'll shoot a mass email to all of you guys, so I'll leave a note to myself. Yeah. So,
We were just testing you guys.
okay. So I'll fix that. But December 10th definitely is a Saturday, and February 5th is a Sunday. So those will be the main competition dates, and those are mandatory for all of our VexIQ students. If you guys are in the Delmar Poway or involved in the Shark Soccer League, this shouldn't conflict with any of your guys' stuff. So hopefully these dates will be attendable for you guys. And these are going to be our actual dates for VexIQ. So these will be part of tuition as well, and I'll explain tuition. Do you guys have these dates? So
February
5th.
5th? It's a Sunday.
Correct. This is because we have some people with a religious commitment on Saturdays, so we actually decided to offer one on Sunday. And there's a lot of Saturday competitions going on, so that's why we provide one Saturday and one Sunday.
So when you say you host, what location, where is it?
So the location is actually live now. So if you go to robotevents.com, it's going to be on there. But for all of your guys' information, we've secured a venue at UCSD, and it's not going to be at the one from last year. It's going to be at one of the lectures or halls, I think.
But it's in San Diego.
Correct. So all of our events are all hosted in San Diego as well. So these are the costs. So these are the fixed costs that all of our members are going to have to incur. So VexIQ charges a team creation cost. This cost is mandatory just to create a team. And this will be divided by the number of members. So if you have a 6-person team, then this amount will be divided by 6. And then if you have a 2-person team, then it's divided by 2. Next, we have a Robolink rental fee. This is to replace any damaged components that we suffer at the end of the year. Usually it's to replace motors, replace a brain, or buy new equipment. So that's what this cost is for.
Are the robots just the robots that somebody else already has? Your Robolink robots?
These are not Robolink robots.
Okay.
These are those plastic pieces. So this is a completely different platform for robots. Class prices are standard. Pretty much it's either 160 or 235. And then this year we also do have a special pricing, and I'll go over that. We have the VexIQ event registration. So this is about $50. It depends on the event partner. So this price will actually change depending on where you're going to. We only charge $50 per event, and that's just to pay for the venue and things like that. And this is per event. So you're gonna pay for this price per event that you attend. So it's gonna be $50 per event, and we have 2 events, so that'll be $100 per event. It's also divided by the number of people on your team. So that's why we also have the sample price over here. So for a sample team of 3 that meets once a week, your cost would be $16.66 for that first class. And or for just to create and establish the team, then you have to pay our rental fee. And then for the first challenge, you're paying $16.67, which is the $50 divided by 3. Same thing over here. And then the total will be $135. And those are just the fixed costs. And then your class tuition is separate. And this is a monthly basis.
And isn't there a fee for the software too?
The software is an optional cost, which is covered in our next slide. So these are the optional costs that you can actually take part into. So Robot C is our programming software. This can be installed for you guys. We have a year subscription, and you guys can buy your own license, and then we sell them for $25. I think if you buy it straight off the website, it's like a little bit over that. I'm not entirely sure, but this is a discounted rate because we buy it in bulk. We also are going to be offering some extra classes. So if you just want to drop the student off so that they can have some independent building time, we will be charging a $10 per hour minimal supervision session. So the student will just be working by themselves and working on the robot. The $10 is just a supplement so that we can, for liability issues, because a lot of parents ended up just dropping the student off and then not actually watching them. So it turned out to be like a daycare for us.
So when you rent a robot, do you get to bring it home or do you leave it here?
So you guys will only be able to take the robot drawing right before the competition.
Okay, so if they wanna work on it, we have to.
Yeah,
drive it.
you guys have to be here, and it's just because we need to make sure that you guys are taking care of the robot.
Yeah, that's fine.
A lot of this, there was probably a few cases where the brain was like mistreated, and then we have to do like a replacement thing. And then if you guys do move on to state, so this is after regionals, state registration is about $200, and that's divided amongst your team. That's not handled by us, but we'll help facilitate the payment and then get it sent to VexIQ. But state registration is roughly $200, and I believe for the state of California or SoCal, it's usually in Bakersfield or Pasadena, so you can attend either or depending on which invitation you get. And then world registration is going to be in Kentucky, and the charge to enter worlds is about $850. and that's also divided out against the people there. Any questions
Have
regarding?
you guys gone to this world?
Yes, so we sent 2 teams to Worlds last year, but we don't actually accompany you guys to Worlds.
Do not.
Yeah, so we don't actually accompany you guys to Worlds or state, but we will take care of you guys going into regionals.
So the coach won't go to better state level? The coach doesn't go? to better
Uh,
state level?
No, if they do go, it would be of their own volition.
For the team, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are going to be offering a Robolink special this year. What it is as long as you commit for the entire season from a specific start date to the end of February, we will be offering you an additional 10% off based on your class tuition. So this is just off the class prices. So if you are paying $40, then you get 10% off that $40 per class session. And you just let us know when you want to start, and then this will just be an automatic charge, so you never have to worry about billing. So for some of you, it'll be really helpful. And then if you are already part of any of our current incentives, then it's just an additional one. Does that make sense? And then I have some forms for you guys to take one. So this is just in case you want to commit towards it. You just take one per family and then just pass any excess back to me. So the way this works is we will require your email address, and then whether you want to commit towards a once a week session or twice a week. And then this will be an automatic billing for the rest of the season. And then if you are not going to be able to make a class, you just have to follow our standard Robolink policy about attendance. In exchange, that's why we're giving you 10% off based on whatever incentives you already have. So again, these are just the season dates. So the deadline to sign up for a once a week student would be the end of August. And then the deadline to sign up for a twice a week, the reason why it says twice a week is just because I think if you're gonna start in September, like you're really pushing it for how much they can do within such a short amount of time. So that's why the cutoff date will be September 16th in total. So
Can we enroll for once a week and then later switch?
correct, you can do that, and then pretty much what'll happen is we'll just change the amount that you're gonna be paying for. So if you do plan to do that, just let us know, and then we'll handle that later on. So that is an option as well.
And for the drop-in times, can they drop in any time that you're having no classes going on, or can you only drop
Correct.
in? Okay.
So they should only be dropping in during class sessions, otherwise,
But when you have any class?
yeah, so as long as we have classes, then you're more than welcome to drop in.
So we don't have to, we let you know, we're
Yeah.
dropping in, you need like a couple days notice? Or-
Yeah, so,
Is that a week?
I believe, I think I had a week
You had
is
a
what I
week.
put there.
Yeah,
That
I'm
sounds
that
like
organized.
Yeah, so,
I don't think most people are that organized, so maybe you could consider a couple
Yeah.
of days notice.
so, I think as long as you keep in contact
Somebody
with us,
responds to an
yeah,
email
so
and
as
says
long
that's
as you
okay.
send us an email and just don't show up and then have your kid here and then, like, out of nowhere.
Drop
I
them
think
off
it's
out
fine.
in
So just give us,
Drop them
I would
off
prefer-
outside the building.
I would prefer a week just so that we make sure that there's people here and then things like that.
So if there are parents or supervise them, then there's no charge, how does it work?
So the way it works is, so unsupervised by a parent, meaning like if
I
you
drop
just,
off outside.
yeah, you like just drop them off and then you don't even come in and you're not here for the 2 hours.
Right.
But if you are here for the 2 hours, then you're fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
and there's no charge if you sit
Yeah.
here? Oh.
So if you're here and you're actually just watching them and making sure that they're conducting themselves, as long as it doesn't require any effort out of us to make sure that they're alive and not going through the halls and doing stuff, I think we're fine. So this concludes my presentation. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Yes.
So how many coaches do you have?
Right now, we have one at Forest Ranch, and then we have about 8, I think 8 or 9 is what we're shooting for Serena Valley. Mhm. Yeah.
So we can, okay.
And so how do you kind of decide on these teams? Like you just kind of,
It's based on usually the age.
so it's purely an age thing, okay.
It's either, we try to make it by age, that way you guys aren't categorized like based off, oh, there's, 5 elementary students and then that one middle school student
Okay,
just
so
made it
it's-
so that they moved into the middle school division. So I would prefer to make it so that the elementary group stays with elementary and then middle school with middle school. But sometimes some of the slots don't work out, so you guys end up having a middle school student and an elementary team, and then the entire elementary team is bumped into the middle school division.
Okay.
So some of those we can't actually prevent unless you guys are gonna change their schedule, but sometimes scheduling is pretty hard.
So, do you have any official, maybe the final date to finalize the team?
Yes, to finalize, you mean so that you guys can establish your own team if you wanna
Yes.
add your own students?
Yeah.
I think we'll just stick to the August 29th or September 16th. So those will be like, pretty much I'll be already creating the teams, and by then, pretty much I'm gonna lock down whoever signed up.
And
for
you
vaccine.
can arrange to be with somebody,
Correct, so if you,
if you, like, I think there's a kid who's here with her.
yeah, so if there's a kid that you guys are extremely passionate, like, oh, I
They
need to
can
be
add
with this
others.
student, and
I see.
I love their parents and things like that, and then you guys have a specific time slot, as long as we have the space, we can create that team into that time slot, if that makes sense.
So the team size typically is 3 or 4.
The most we ever we try to make sure that there's at least 3 and at most 6. But sometimes if we're trying to create, say there's like too many super students in one team and there's not enough things for another student to do, then we'll probably break up the team into 2. Yeah, so it's also like, I'll probably break them up based on the efficiency of the students too.
How many teams are like 4 people?
Right now, we don't have any teams with 4. We have a lot of students that are currently at either 2 or 3 right now. And then some of you guys already signed up, so I just have to send you guys some suggestions, or if you guys want to speak to me individually as to where you guys want to plug your student into a specific time slot or change anything, just let me know.
So you mean the whole class, the content will focus on the competition?
Correct. So everyone, once the season starts, everyone's going to be doing Vex IQ, and then, well, not everyone, just everyone enrolled in Vex IQ will be doing this game.
Okay.
So what's the difference of this IQ with the original or ordinary class?
So with the ordinary class, it's a single student doing our fundamentals and learning the basics. And then for Vex IQ, it's like a competition orient.
Okay.
So think of it like a team sport, but with robots. And yeah. Any questions or?
And how do they learn, like, the program, do you have, like, do you send them home with a manual? Like, how do they actually learn, like, how do they move forward with the coding? Because, I guess when you get down to crunch time, like you said, you've got, I guess, maybe some kids that are more advanced, and so how do they slowly kind of?
We actually have a secret website that I've been putting up together, and some students have actually been using it.
Okay.
So this little website is live, and then pretty much I just kind of keep it secret because it's something I do on the side, and it's not publicly advertised. But then our students use it to learn. So there's like videos and tutorials, kind of like how we've
Okay.
been doing Rocket Smart.
So they can do that at home, and they can,
Correct. So
okay.
they can like review it and then come up with the code and just make sure it runs. And then when they come in here, they can test it.
Okay.
And they learn
The
that fast.
simulation
Yeah.
environment.
They do offer a simulation environment. It's called Robot C Virtual Worlds, and it does come as a package with Robot C. So if you want to buy it, I think it's an extra $25. But we do have that, and I would suggest you try it before you buy it. So after you run Robot C, you can add that in. and that'll work for the next 10 days.
What's Robot C? That's the program?
Yeah, so that's the
$25.
programming language, and then, or it's the programming environment, and it
The
is C,
software.
C based. Yeah. Mhm. And that concludes everything unless you guys have any more questions. And if you guys do have questions, feel free to shoot it to my email, and that's carl@robolink.com. And then for scheduling, so when I sent you guys out the sign-up sheet for this info session, those were the time slots that I'm using to create your teams. If you do not want to use that, just refill it out and then I'll adjust it based on that. Does that make sense? Yeah, so just refill out the form if you need to.
How many kids do you have for Forest Ranch students?
We have a total of 4 Forest Ranch students, so if you are a Forest Ranch parent, you can raise your hand and then you
Are
guys
you
can all.
Forest Ranch?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's only.
But are
4.
you planning to go to Forest or?
Yeah.
Yeah, she attends both.
We come here on Saturday, and then we get too hard.
Well, that's why I was, yeah, that's my issue. I come on Sunday.
Oh, and they don't have classes.
But he hasn't done Beckside yet.
Oh, okay.
This is would be his first
How
time.
old is your son?
Mhm.
He's 11.
Yeah, so that would be perfect. So my son just turned 12, he's going to 7th grade.